Hi friends, it's Brittany and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be bringing you some quick meal ideas inspired by ingredients that you can find at your local Aldi. You know I'm an Aldi girl. I love Aldi. I love putting my Aldi hauls on YouTube. So I thought it would be fun to really kind of show you some meal ideas inspired by the things that I shop for at Aldi. So before we get into that, if you're new here, welcome. My name's Brittany and on my channel I do cooking content and grocery hauls. So if this is content that you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like if you enjoy it, and I hope you'll stick around for more from me. And with that, let's get into this week's recipes. First up, we're making this barbecue chicken flatbread. If you have not tried Aldi's pizzas and flatbreads, you're seriously missing out. They're so good and they're so inexpensive. They range from anywhere from $5 to $7. The bigger pizzas are a great value, but I actually prefer the flatbread since they're a thinner crust and they're super easy to prepare. So you're just going to preheat your oven to 400, bake directly on the rack for 10 to 12 minutes for the flatbread. I drizzled this with ranch and served it with a side caprese salad, and it was so good. Next up, we're going to be making an easy beef and broccoli in the slow cooker using a sirloin that I picked up at Aldi. I went ahead and marinated this in some lime and lemon juice in the fridge just because I had those ingredients on hand. This is not a must, but a nice to have if you have that. Next, I'm going to start by spraying my slow cooker with some nonstick cooking spray. I'm going to add in my brown sugar, and then I'm adding some beef broth in as well. I'll have the full recipe with the measurements and ingredients below for you to reference. Next up, we're adding some soy sauce. Please note that the recipe calls for half a cup of low sodium. I had full sodium soy sauce, so I just did a quarter cup because I wanted to make sure it wasn't too salty. Following that, you're going to add in sesame oil. Make sure you don't skip this step because it really does add a ton of flavor to your dish. It's a must for this dish in my opinion. Then we're going to add our minced garlic. I'm just using the jar kind, and we'll go ahead and whisk that in before we add in our steak. So also note that I think you could totally make this recipe with skirt steak or beef stew meat. I was actually going to use stew meat because it's cheaper, but the stew meat at my Aldi didn't look super fresh, so I went ahead and did the sirloin. That would be a nice shortcut though, because then you don't have to worry about slicing up steak, which can be kind of a hassle. And then finally, I'm adding some black pepper before putting my crock pot on low for 4 hours. And then later on in the afternoon, we'll finish this dish up. Later in the day, you're going to want to wash and chop your broccoli, and then you're going to make a cornstarch slurry. So if you haven't done this before, it's super easy. You're basically going to combine cornstarch with water and whisk it together, and then you're going to add it into your crock pot to thicken it up. I will include, again, the recipe will be below so you can follow the exact measurements. This is quite a lot of cornstarch, more than I've used in the past for recipes. But for beef and broccoli, you definitely want it to have a nice thick sauce, so it definitely is a necessity. Definitely don't skip the cornstarch for this dish. It really just makes it so perfect, and it really makes that sauce nice and delicious. So next step, we're gonna take the lid off of our crock pot. You can see that the steak has cooked up nicely. This smelled amazing, by the way. This is a great dinner, especially for a weeknight meal, and definitely better than getting Chinese takeout. So we're adding our cornstarch slurry, and you can already see immediately it starts to thicken up. It's pretty wild how cornstarch can just magically transform a sauce. So we're mixing that together, and then I added a little bit of crushed red pepper just to add some spice. Look at how thick that sauce is already. Wild. All right, so next up we're going to add our broccoli, and the recipe actually called for it to cook for a much longer time with the broccoli. So what I did is I let the sauce thicken for a little bit, and then I added the broccoli in. And I think the total time that I did might have been like an hour, but I only let the broccoli cook for 30 minutes. I would just keep an eye on it. This is not one of those recipes that you can like just let it sit, you know what I mean, in your crock pot, because you don't want your broccoli to turn to mush in the sauce. Once everything's combined, pop the lid back on and cook the broccoli until it's cooked to your liking. Here's the finished product. This was just so delicious. My husband and I both love this and we'll definitely make it again. The steak was so tender and it just was such a filling and comforting meal. We served it over white rice, but you could also serve this over noodles. Definitely would recommend this. Very easy and satisfying dinner for a weeknight. Lastly, I have a super easy dinner you can find at Aldi. They have all these pre-prepared meats in the deli section. Tonight we're making pork carnitas. I've made this before and literally it cooks up in less than 5 minutes. I don't even know if you can qualify this as cooking dinner, but if you're in a pinch, if you have a busy night with sports or activities for the kiddos, if you're in a pinch, just definitely take my advice. Pick things like this up to have in your fridge when you really need a dinner super quick. So literally you're just gonna cut a little hole in the bag and microwave it for 3 minutes. I'm making rice bowls tonight, so I have some rice on the stove cooking, and then you can serve with your choice of toppings. Aldi has a lot of great dips and salsas in their store. So these are some of my favorites. The Mexicali dip is kind of like a cream cheese Tex-Mex dip, super delicious. We did mango pico de gallo, which was really great with the pork carnitas. And then I love their store-bought guacamole. So this was our finished rice bowls. They were super delicious, more delicious than Chipotle, which I know is hard to believe. So that concludes today's video. I hope you all enjoyed and I hope it gave you some dinner inspiration and inspiration to go out to Aldi and check out all the good stuff they have. It really is such a good store, such great prices, and some of their stuff can really make dinner super easy in a pinch. So hope you all enjoyed and I can't wait to see you all in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.